What's going on, travel people? In today's video, I want to give you 5 things that you're absolutely going to love here in Budapest and 5 things that you're going to hate or might not love as much. So we've spent just about a month here in Budapest. Our time is unfortunately ending. We're heading to Prague tomorrow, so thought it'd be the perfect time to give you this video. So we're going to start with the good. Number 1 thing that you're going to absolutely love is the food. Guys, if you're a foodie, you're absolutely going to love this town. So much incredible food, a lot of different cultures present here as well. It's not just good traditional Hungarian food, which you absolutely should try. They have unbelievable goulash and like the chimney cakes and just like all these amazing Hungarian dishes, but you're also gonna find like really good Indian food, really good Greek and Mediterranean food, like food from all over the world. This place does really well. The only food that I haven't seen done here is Mexican. There's not many Mexican places, but every other culture is heavily present here, so you're definitely gonna love the food. Make sure to try it. The second thing that you're absolutely gonna love here is the nighttime in the city. Now, don't get me wrong, this city is gorgeous at any time of the day, but when the sun goes down, this entire city, it just turns into something really magical. All the buildings are lit up. They do such a good job. The architecture is incredible, and the way that every street is lit, it just creates this ambiance that, I don't know, it's just magical. You'd have to be here to experience it, but it really is something special. Some cities are better seen in the day, others doesn't really matter, but this is definitely a city to see at night. So you're gonna love the nighttime in this city. The third thing that you're absolutely gonna love, especially if you're a traveler looking to get to know other people, is you're gonna love this place because it's kind of one of those diverse hubs where you have so many different travelers from all over the world coming, and you have a lot of young people. So while we were here, we got to meet with so many different people from Ireland, Greece, Pakistan. I mean, you name the country, there's somebody in this city from that place, and it's just really a young person's town. It's very easy to like network, meet up at the bars, hang out with each other. So it's just a fun city if you're looking to get to know about other cultures and meet new people. And that brings me to the fourth thing that you're absolutely gonna love, and it's just the energy, the vibe, and the architecture. Guys, the architecture here is unbelievable. Pretty much anywhere you go, you're gonna have these really high ceilings. Like, coming from America, we normally have like claustrophobic little apartments, right? You generally have like, I don't know, maybe a 10 to 12 foot ceiling if you're lucky. Here, that is not the case. Anywhere you walk into, whether it be an apartment, a restaurant, any kind of building, you're gonna have ridiculously high ceilings. I'm talking like 15, 20, 25 feet high, which just gives this like ambiance and atmosphere that I'm just not used to, but I absolutely love it. And then you talk about what they do in terms of decor, and they know how to set a vibe. They know how to put an aesthetic together. Everything is beautifully decorated. They commit to a theme. When they're trying to go with like a themed restaurant, they really do commit. The cafes are unbelievable. The ruin bars, if you've never heard of the ruin bars, they're basically these bars where you have anything and everything from like flea markets, basically. Think of like you're going to a bar created by furniture from flea markets. They're absolutely incredible. The vibe, the energy in these places are just unlike anything I've ever experienced before, and you're definitely gonna love it if you're looking for something different. So that is number 4. And that leads me to the 5th thing that you're absolutely gonna love, which is the cost. This place is affordable. I know there are spots in Europe that are not very cheap to visit, like Switzerland, Paris, basically any of the Nordic countries, right? Places in Europe can absolutely get pricey. And while this isn't the cheapest, it's also not very expensive. You can still do this city on a budget if you're looking to do that. We've been here for an entire month, and we rented an apartment for I think $800 after utilities. So it was perfect. Definitely something that you can manage in a budget. But of course, if you're looking to spend money, oh, trust me, there are places to spend money, which we're gonna get to later in this video, but you definitely still can come here, and it's not gonna destroy your wallet and your savings. So that's another nice thing, is the affordability. And then a bonus, another 6th thing, this is a small one, but it's something that I noticed just coming from other European cities, is there's not as many smokers. So if you're somebody coming from the US and smoke really bothers you, luckily there's not as many people smoking here, so that's a big plus as well. Now it's time to talk about the things that you're gonna hate. And when I say hate, I don't actually mean hate. I mean, hey, maybe you will, but these are more so some things that you might not love as much. But again, preface this with knowing that I grew up in America, so I have a bias from the American perspective, and I've only been here a month, so it might not be your experience. It's just been mine over this last month. So the first thing that you might not love so much or might even hate is the noise. And what I mean by the noise is some cities are relatively quiet and some cities are loud all throughout. This is a city that if you're in a loud area, it is noisy. We ended up renting an apartment right near all of the local pubs and bars and nightclubs, and let me tell you, it was definitely noisy. Those are in district like 6 and 7. There are other districts though throughout the city that are very, very quiet. If you are looking for a quieter experience, maybe look at District 1 over on the Buda side, or just pay attention to where you're booking ahead of time, because that is something that definitely came as a surprise to us. It was definitely pretty noisy, but we didn't mind it that much, but you might. The second thing that you might not like is how spread out this city is. A lot of European cities are very compact. At least they've got all the tourist attractions generally within like a 10, 15, 20 minute walk of one another. This city is pretty spread out. So from where we're staying, which is still considered like right in the heart of the action, we're an hour's walk from like the Fisherman's Bastion and the Buda Castle. We're still a 30-minute walk in the other way to like the Seceni baths, the big thermal baths that you want. So if you are going to be traveling by foot, which is how we like to travel, this is a place that you're going to have to allot a little bit more time in getting from point A to point B, and you just have to know that you're going to be doing a lot of walking. You might have some sore feet because things are just spread out in general. For us, that was just fine because we had an entire month. We weren't looking to squeeze in a bunch of different tourist attractions in one day, but if you're coming on a shorter trip, just be aware that it might be tricky to squeeze all of those things in without paying an arm and a leg for a bunch of taxis. And speaking of the taxis, that brings me to the third thing that you might hate or might not love as much here in Budapest. Unfortunately, there are still a lot of scams that go on with taxis. It's not like anybody's going to kidnap you and beat you up, but they definitely are going to try to rip you off if they have the opportunity to do that. And that was something that luckily we didn't experience firsthand, but all of our Airbnb hosts, all of the locals that we met, they all were the ones warning us and said, hey, you have to make sure that you're going to book through a legitimate taxi website. They all made sure to recommend that we use something called Wolt, which is basically like their Ubers out here. But the Wolt, it's a legit taxi service, but unfortunately there are a lot of taxi services that are not, and you'll a lot of time have people saying, hey, there's like a night rate, or we're just gonna let you get in the car and then we'll tell you how much it charges afterwards. That's not entirely how it works. What you want to do instead, use the apps, let your Airbnb host or your hotel set you up with a taxi with a set rate based on the distance ahead of time, because unfortunately you could get scammed into giving away a lot of money to the taxis. But luckily, if you know what you're looking out for, if you do a little research ahead of time and you just follow the tips from the locals, that won't be an issue. But that is something to look out for here. Now, the fourth thing that you might hate when visiting Budapest or might not love is actually kind of a double-edged sword. It's the food again, because the food is so dang good that you're gonna spend way more than you anticipated on the food. Not because it's expensive, but because you will not be able to stop eating, or at least I was not able to. I blew my spending plan out of the water. Like, I spent so much more than anticipated on food because I just couldn't stop. There were so many great places. I already talked about that in the beginning part, but the food really is exceptional. If you're budgeting like $400, $500, just double it. Just double it just to be safe, because it would not shock me if you spent double what you anticipated on food. Both a good and a bad thing. Bad for the wallet, but good for the soul. And finally, the fifth thing that you're gonna hate or might not love as much here in Budapest. If you're somebody who is coming to learn about the local culture and you're somebody who really enjoys just sitting down with a local and talking about their life experiences, this is a harder city to do that, not because the locals don't exist, but there are so many foreigners like myself, right? There's a lot of young people and people from throughout Europe, because it's an affordable city and because it's that, diverse cultural hub. There's so many people here who are not locals that it can kind of be hard to identify and find the locals. So you're gonna have to put a little bit more energy and effort into seeking out those true locals. Find which restaurants they're going to. Otherwise, you might find yourself running into a lot of other tourists, a lot of other digital nomads like myself, which, hey, we're not all that bad. But if you are looking for that just true local person who has been in Hungary and Budapest for their entire lives, it's a little bit trickier to do. So just be aware of that as well. But overall, again, none of those hate things are really that bad. I have enjoyed the heck out of my time here in Budapest. Definitely a spot that we're looking to come back to soon. So it's bittersweet leaving. I hope this was useful. If you have any questions about anything Budapest related, leave them in the comment section down below, and we'll catch you guys in Prague.